Going to discuss doing a automatic setup or ASU on your index timing on a Pro Series machine. This would be the typical setup for your Pro Series indexing. How you would want to start is you would want to have your mechanical set points in place for your indexing. This is a left to right machine, so this one is going to be my in-feed count sensor, my entry pin, and my exit pin. The exit pin is going to be the longer of the two pins. The exit pin should be set to where you're going at least halfway across the conveyor. The entry pin is just going to protrude into the space in between the containers. So your exit pin is going to be at the end. It's going to hold your container, your last container underneath the last fill head. And you're going to count back. I have 6 here, so I'll count back 6 containers to match my 6 fill heads. And then I would have my entry pin sitting in between my first container and the container prior, just so that when the entry pin extends, it will hold this container and any before it back while the others can leave the fill zone. Once I have the exit and the entry holding my containers, I can set my in-feed count so that I'm reading the neck of the container prior to my entry pin. That way this one will read that you have a container waiting to go into the fill zone, and then it will flash in between each one as it sees the space, and it'll give you the container count as it rolls in. So your container count is going to need to be set according to this setup to 6, so that it'll count 6 containers, and then when the 7th container lands in place, it will sit and hold, and then it'll register. If you need to control the speed of your pins, there's these little flow controls. So it's going to be an exit style speed control. So to control the draw back on this cylinder, you would control it with rotating the rear air fitting counterclockwise for faster, clockwise for slower. The front fitting here will control how fast it comes out. It's the same here. So once I have these 3 components set and everything's where I would like it to be, then I'm going to make sure that I have my conveyor speed set on the front of the control panel. Once the conveyor speed is set, then I'm going to position all of my containers prior to my entry pin. I can do that by manually toggling my entry pin open and then slide my containers back and manually toggle my entry pin back shut and then bump my conveyor speed. Once I bump that conveyor manually, it'll put the pressure up against the entry pin. That's where my containers are going to be in a natural fill cycle. So that's where I want to start. Make sure that I have enough containers in line here to fill my fill zone and reach my in-feed count sensor. Sometimes this count sensor may be way back here, depending on the container setup or options, whether or not you can get around your drip tray or if you have a locator. So just make sure you have enough that you can reach it, or else it will not work. Then you're going to go into your ASU screen on the main screen. Then on the top, you're going to toggle Index ASU, and then you're going to want to clear any timer that's in there currently. Once that's cleared, it'll be zeros, and then you hit Start ASU Index. When you do that, you're going to see the entry pin's going to retract, the conveyor will turn on, it'll pull your containers to your exit pin, and your in-feed count sensor will count. Once that takes place, the conveyor is going to shut off, your entry pin will extend back out, and then on your touchscreen you will have a timer that will have popped up. If everything looked good and you're happy with that, then you can go ahead and press the save button, and then you can manually toggle your exit pin or your entry pin and get these containers back out of your fill zone, and then you're ready to move on.